it looked like a dog, you know. They call it like the dog man or something. I mean, this thing was built. I mean, this thing was rugged. I mean, it's something I wouldn't want to tangle with it, you know.
One night, I'm sitting there and I had a dead body in my bed.
Yes, that's when I started hearing the doors opening and closing and then walking through the house.
Welcome back to Myths, Monsters, and Mullets. Tonight's show we have Randy. He's a paranormal investigator for 42 years. He comes on to talk about some of the things that he's witnessed. And what you're seeing on the screen right now are some of the pictures that he sent in from some of his investigations. If you have a paranormal encounter you'd like to share, you can email me at mythsandmullets@gmail.com. Follow me on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, basically wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Hope you enjoy the show. Welcome back to Myths, Monsters, and Mullets. I am your host, John Methenkamp. Today on the show, we have Randy from the Ashland Paranormal Investigation team. He's coming on the show to talk about his team and some previous paranormal encounters that he had. So, Randy, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the listening audience?
Hi, my name's Randy, and the founder and lead investigator of Tappet Paranormal, the Ashland County Paranormal Investigation team. We have 6 members on our team. We do paranormal investigations for businesses, for private people's homes, and we do it all for free.
Free is good. Free is good. I like free.
Yeah, because we believe in helping people out, not charging people.
Right. Because, you do hear about a lot of people, somebody will call and say they have an issue and people want to come in, charge money, and don't really do anything. It's just a money-making scheme for them.
Exactly.
So what sparked your interest in the paranormal?
My interest got sparked when I was 12 years old. I had a brother who passed away, and we had a strange encounter right after his death, about 6 days afterwards. My brother and my mom and dad, older brother, were talking at the kitchen table, and everybody else was asleep. Of course, I was awake laying in bed, and my brother looked at my dad and slammed his fist on the table, and he said, why did Dale have to die? That was my brother who got killed. And we heard this loud scream go through the whole house. It was really creepy. It sounded like it was coming out of the walls, out of the register vents. And my dad said, oh my God, he didn't realize he had been dead. He thought we were ignoring him.
Holy cow.
It woke everybody up in the house.
So this was like just throughout the entire house, you heard this scream. And did it sound like your brother?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Holy cow. Is it too personal to ask how your brother died?
He died a very tragic death. He was burned alive in a truck accident.
Oh, wow.
And he was riding with his best friend. His best friend was driving. His friend was killed instantly on impact, but my brother, he suffered through it. They actually found where he dug his fingers through the top of the cab trying to get out.
Oh, wow.
He was literally ripping the metal open on top of the cab trying to get out. And he had one of his legs that was severed off.
I am so sorry to hear that. And how long ago was this?
That was July 9th, 1979. That date will never leave my head.
Oh, I would guess not. I mean, that's, yeah.
Tragedy
like that. You remember where you're at and, probably what you were wearing.
Yeah, I was only 12 at the time and he was only 20 years old.
Oh, wow. I'm so sorry to hear about that. So,
but that's what got me sparked into it.
So other than the scream, was there anything else that happened
later
around that time?
We'll see later on. We believe it was him that was making visits to us because he used to lift weights. He was training to be a bodybuilder. We would hear the weights in the basement clinking in the middle of the night. We'd hear somebody down there going, then you'd hear the weights go clink, clink. And
Oh,
my dad would get up and go downstairs, and the weight bar would be moved. It was really
so
interesting.
did anybody ever see like the weights being moved or anything like that?
My father went down one time and watched as the barbell was rolling across the floor.
Oh, wow. Holy cow.
He came upstairs and he was as white as a sheet. And he goes, Dale was here.
So does that give you, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, not closure. Comfort that he was staying around, or
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I would think it would for me too.
Because when that first initial scream that we heard that night, that first encounter I had, that scared the crap out of me. But as it proceeded, it was just like, oh, okay, he's here with us. So, and I felt comfortable.
Right. I mean, almost like he never left, but he wasn't there. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I could tell because I could feel like being touched and stuff like that on the forehead and on the back. So I knew it was him. It never scared me.
Just at random times, you would feel.
Yeah, just random intervals.
Wow. I think a lot of people would like that kind of interaction. Just yeah. I'm here and I'm okay.
Yeah.
Right. So then this happens, you have these paranormal encounters, and that spurs your interest. So what was like your first step into becoming an investigator?
Actually, it was like just a couple of years later, I got with some buddies and I was telling them the story about what happened. And then they started opening up about stuff that they had happening. So we just decided, young people, we're like 15 at the time. We're like, we're just going to just dabble around with it, see what happens. So we got the old cassette player, the one that weighed like 40 pounds and took the cassette tape.
Right.
We were going into graveyards and finding abandoned houses, which nowadays you can't do that because you get in a lot of trouble.
Wasn't the 80s great?
But we actually caught our first EVP in 1982.
And what did you hear?
We were in an abandoned house, and it was actually my buddy is the one that asked the question. He goes, and his exact words I can remember perfectly. He goes, so if there's actually a ghost in here, why don't you come over here and say hi, and we'll play this back and see if anything happens. Well, we backed it up and played it, and after he said that, you hear hi.
Oh wow!
And we all bolted out of that place. Yeah,
you were big time ghost hunters until something actually happened.
Right at first. Well, it was that first time, it was an additional, initial shock because we weren't expecting anything to happen.
Yeah. I think that's kind of everybody's when they first go into doing any kind of investigation like that. You think, well, this might work, but probably not. And then when it does, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, because when my buddy asked that, he was the first one to run out the door. And me and my other friend, we were just kind of standing there looking at each other like, oh shit, we better follow him.
Yeah.
It was great.
So
it was a highlight.
So you're talking early 80s. It's not like there were a lot of ghost hunting shows or anything like that.
No, there actually wasn't any.
Right. So what made you decide to use like the tape recorders and stuff like that? Where'd you get the idea for that?
Actually, my dad gave me that idea.
So your dad was a full believer in all this stuff too.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I wish my dad was alive right now because he could tell you some really good things that he has seen. He actually had encountered Bigfoot one time.
I like me some Bigfoot.
I know, and it was here in Ohio, and it was back in, what did he say that was, 1964?
That's early on. I mean, Bigfoot wasn't really mainstream. Well, it wasn't really mainstream until recently, but
Right.
people weren't hearing about Bigfoot in Ohio,
Right.
Until recently, fairly recently, but not in 1960s. I mean, the Patterson Gimlin film just come out in 58?
Yeah.
So
Dad
what
said
did
he said what he seen was a roughly an 8-foot tall, very hairy man. And he said what was really strange about it was about a quarter mile down from where he seen it at on our property at the farm, there was like a big ball of light down there too by the creek. And he said after he seen it and he got his shotgun out and he took and fired one shot, he said it ran, and the next thing the light was gone too when it got out of sight.
Yeah, and people weren't talking about the lights associated with Bigfoot back then either.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Wow. Yeah.
Because he told us, he goes, "Don't you kids go out after dark."
Right.
But we did anyways and ventured into the woods. You know how kids are. We're just, kids will be kids.
So was that in the Ashland area?
Yes.
Okay. And for the listeners, could you give like a geographically where you are in Ohio?
Basically, the best way to put it is everybody's heard of Mansfield Reformatory. Shot the Shawshank Redemption there and all that good movies. It's about 20, where we're at in Ashland County is about 23 minutes north of that.
So you're basically directly north of Columbus.
We're an hour north of Columbus.
Right.
We're in between.
I've been to Mansfield and Ashland, but for the listeners,
yeah, it's halfway between Cleveland and Columbus.
Yeah, I've been through Mansfield. I've always wanted to go to the Reformatory, but I've heard some things. Maybe have you been to the Mansfield?
Yes, me and two of my investigators spent the whole night there by ourselves.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I had them lock me in the hole for 3 hours by myself in the pitch black.
Okay. I thought that they shut down.
Nothing happened.
I didn't think that you could stay like completely overnight.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
I won't say what the cost is. You have to pay to rent the place.
I know it's expensive for that because we were looking into it, and for like 4 hours, it was like $600 or something like that.
Yeah, we had it till 6 o'clock in the morning. We had it from 8 o'clock at night till 6 in the morning.
Now, see, I would want to do that because when we were looking into it, it was like the packages we were looking at. It was like by the time you did your tour, got everything set up, you only had like an hour or two to investigate, and then you're tearing everything down again. So yeah,
exactly.
I would do an overnight there, but like you said, it's probably expensive.
It's great. It's very expensive. but me and my team, the couple guys that went along with us because the other ones had to work. A friend of ours, it was his birthday, and his wife had actually booked the place and paid for it. And he asked us to come along just to be there because he knew we did the paranormal investigations. So we did it, and they stayed till 11 o'clock, and then they all went home and left us have the building.
People that paid for it left at 11?
Yeah. And then we got to stay there till almost 6 in the morning. By the time we got done packing everything up, it was like 5:45 in the morning.
Wow. That's a good deal. That's a really good deal.
Yeah, so we got to do it. We actually got to do it for free.
Right. Free, it's for me. So
And
you
when I was going to say, speaking of that, my brother actually worked in that prison up until the day it closed.
so did he have any stories about things that were
He
going on?
had all kinds of stories. He passed away here 7 years ago. If he would be alive, I would have had him on with me tonight. And he could have told you some really good stuff that he had seen over there.
Right. Right.
He was actually on that show, America's Most Haunted Places.
I don't know if I've seen that.
Yeah, he was on that TV show, and they did an interview with him over there with the prison.
America's Most Haunted Places?
I think it was America's Most Haunted Places, or how was that? It was an older TV show. Linda Blair actually was the one that did the show, hosted it.
Making notes. I'm going to look this up. I'm going to go look
Yeah,
at your
it's on
brother,
YouTube.
Linda Blair. All right. I will look that up because I love everything paranormal. Love it.
Oh, yeah, I do too. Cryptos, ufology. I mean, you name it, I love it.
So you do the ghost hunting. Do
Yes.
you also do like Bigfoot hunting and stuff like that?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do. And if I could show a picture of me and Matt Moneymaker together.
Actually, I have that picture. I can put it in the video if you want.
Oh, yeah, you can put that in the video. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I will do that. You had an interesting story, though, about how you met him.
Yeah, we were at a place called Mohican's Landau Castle. And we were doing a paranormal investigation there for the people who owned it. And they're the ones that actually went to the prison with. They're the ones that paid for the prison. But yeah, we were down there doing the ghost hunting. Next thing you know, we're meeting Matt Moneymaker in the graveyard. His was an old graveyard from the late 1700s and early 1800s there.
He was looking for Bigfoot in a cemetery?
Well, he was coming up through the woods that's right around the cemetery.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty interesting meeting him.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind meeting him. If you're listening, I want to meet you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the one guy, it looks like a really big guy, and that Bobo guy that's with him, he's not very tall at all.
Really?
I kind of towered over him.
Really? How tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
Really?
Yeah. He is not
I
very
always
tall.
thought that he was like 6'6" or something.
That's what I thought too, but he's not. He's shorter.
My whole life has been a lie.
Well, they say camera adds 20 pounds, but I think it shrinks you 3 feet.
Oh, yeah. That's what, they say the camera adds 5 pounds. I'd say, stop taking my picture.
Exactly.
I must have paparazzi around me all the time.
Oh, and I love the hair.
I got that in Georgia because I've got a huge dome. Okay. And it's hard for me to find ball caps that fit my head. And we went down to Georgia and I was like, I'm going to try this on, even though it's not going to fit. Sure enough. So this is the only hat that I wear. And I have to go all the way to Georgia for my hats.
That's an expensive hat.
Right. It was on my honeymoon too. So that was really expensive.
Nice. Yeah.
So do you only investigate in Ohio?
No, I have gone to Pennsylvania. I've gone to Iowa, Indiana, New York, Massachusetts, Maryland. I've been to Louisiana, Texas, Florida.
Oh, wow. Where'd you go in Indiana?
Indiana, there is a mansion out there called it's Listoro. It's an abandoned mansion. I think that's how you pronounce it, Listoro.
Is that where like there was a murder or something, a mass murder or something that happened there?
Yes.
I've seen pictures of it. I've never been to it, but it's over by Indianapolis, isn't it?
Close to it, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I've heard of that. I've never been there. I've heard
we didn't get anything there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nothing at all.
you ever come back over to Indiana, you need to go to Randolph County Infirmary.
That sounds interesting.
It's literally 20 minutes from my house, and it's where I had my first paranormal encounter.
Oh, wow.
That's what started this whole thing with me and the paranormal.
Well, I'll be there Saturday.
Good luck. It takes a while to get booked in there. But anybody I've ever talked to has had encounters there. So
nice.
It'd be one to look into for you, you know.
Oh yeah, it sounds interesting.
It's just north of Richmond.
Okay.
So
I'd definitely do that.
Yeah, it would be about, I don't know, probably a 2 or 3 hour drive for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too bad. Yeah, there's all kinds of places I want to go to. I got on the bucket list.
Yeah. Me
Alcatraz
too.
Island's my big one.
Where at?
Alcatraz Island.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I just don't know. I don't know if I want to go to California.
$2,700 rent it for the whole weekend.
You can rent the entire thing for the weekend?
For $2,700.
That might be worth getting a few people together for.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get some people build up and get it booked before they raise the price.
But yeah, $2,700 for the island, but then you got to get airfare out there, hotels, and everything else. So it might be a little expensive.
Well, you actually stay on in the prison the whole weekend.
Well, that's true. That's true. You wouldn't. I guess you just wouldn't have to worry about a hotel. Just getting there.
No. Yeah, the only thing they ask you is to bring your own food and your own drinks. So you got something on the island. Basically, they drop you off and they just leave you stranded there with a couple of security guards.
So it's kind of like that show Alone.
Yeah.
I like that show, but we're off topic. Anyway,
yes.
this is how my interviews go. So we're going to get off topic
fine.
More than once. It's going to happen. So, you say you do investigate Bigfoot. Have you ever gotten anything interesting?
Me and a friend of mine went to. You ever heard of Moonville in Ohio?
I sure have.
We were down there investigating the Moonville Tunnel one night. Then all of a sudden, we started hearing a bunch of knocks. And we was hearing branches breaking. And I looked at my buddy and I said, no way. He goes, do you thinking what I'm thinking? I'm like, it's got to be Bigfoot. So we started knocking back on trees, and we were actually getting responses.
But aren't you afraid that maybe that's like a mating call?
Well, then we'd be in trouble.
Right. That's I always find it funny when I watch these Bigfoot shows and they're out there, making noises, hooting and hollering, banging on trees. It's like, you don't know what you're saying to them.
Right. Yeah, we were just experimenting.
Right. I get it. I probably would do the same thing if I heard knocks, but it's one of those things you think about. It's like, I don't know what I'm saying to them.
Yeah. And I don't know if it might have been somebody else doing the knocking, trying to get attention on one.
That could be, but
you never know.
I think it was Bigfoot.
I got a feeling it probably was, because that's pretty isolated down there.
Oh yeah. That whole area though is Bigfoot hotspot.
Mm-hmm.
And you get down around Hocking Hills and that area.
Right.
That's very dense forest and cliffs and caves and
oh yeah, definitely.
Plenty of places for them to hide down there.
Definitely.
So what are your thoughts on Bigfoot? Like, what do you think it is?
I think that he is actually an interdimensional being. Because how can you disappear that quick and not leave a trace? I believe that they use portals to go through back and forth. That's what I'm thinking.
And you could be right. I mean, we don't know, but you can't ignore the fact that there's a lot of people who experience a lot of the woo,
Yeah.
Whether it's the mind speak or portals or the lights, your dad talked about seeing the light.
Yeah.
along with the Bigfoot.
And
That's reported a lot
when
too.
it disappeared, the light disappeared.
Yeah.
Are they coming from outer space?
Who knows? Maybe
Interstellar beings?
they're like an alien's bodyguard.
It's possible. You never know. I mean, it is an interesting, subject.
Oh,
I
yeah.
believe that they're real.
I can't say with 100% certainty that they're real. I lean towards the fact that they're real. I've had some strange things happen to me down in Southern Ohio. And after hearing other people's encounters, it's like, yeah, it kind of sounds like what happened to me. So, and then there's just too many people who report seeing it for it to not be real.
Right.
I can't, until I see one myself, I'm not going to be 100% sure.
And that's what I tell people about with the paranormal. Until you actually see a spirit, then you'll believe.
Right.
If you don't want to believe, that's fine.
Right. And I understand why people don't believe, because I was that person up until 4 years ago.
Right.
I didn't believe in the paranormal. And then on a whim, we decided to go down to the Randolph County Infirmary. That place is haunted. Ghosts are real. And that's what got me going down all these rabbit holes into these other paranormal, supernatural, things to try to find out what else is real,
Exactly.
There's too many reports of Bigfoot from actual physical sightings for everybody to be lying.
Yeah. I think I mentioned to you about the sightings that happened just a couple of years ago here in Ashland County.
You did. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about that?
I'm not sure exactly what all went on with it, but for like 2 weeks straight, there were sightings on I-71 and 250 in Ashland County, right outside the city limits. And one of the reports was actually from a state patrol officer.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It made the newspaper and everything.
I'll look that up. See what I can find on that. Maybe we can add a little extra to this episode.
Yeah,
So-
it was quite interesting. I read up on it. I was like, Then there was more sightings than like the next following week in the northern part of Ashland County.
So it was running.
Basically.
It's like, I got Saul over there. I got to go over here.
Yeah, they see me, so I'm out of here.
Right. That's how I am whenever I see my ex-wife.
I understand that one.
Anyway, sorry to my ex-wife. One of them. Anyway.
That's right. Yes.
So you say you have 6 people on your investigation team.
Yes.
What kind of like equipment and stuff do you guys use?
I have FLIR thermal cameras. I have, multiple different K2s. We got this one, and we got
that's the one you got to put the penny in the slot to keep it on, right?
This one actually will stay on without it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the newer version.
Yeah, because the one we had, you had to shove something in there just to keep it on the whole time.
My first ones were like that.
Yeah.
Then we got even more. We got this type, and we got the other old type. And then we got the old reliable, which the electricians use.
Oh, there you go. The old tri-field.
And this one's really accurate.
Yeah.
We use those cat balls for motion sensor balls because once they're touched, they light up. We just started using those. We've had a little bit of luck with those when we went to Gettysburg.
How was Gettysburg? I've always wanted to go there.
I have been to Gettysburg 17 times, and I still have not seen all the battlefields.
Really?
It is that vast. Because every time I go out there, they keep telling me about another place, and it's like, where's it at? And they'll tell me, and I'll go to it. It's like, I didn't know this existed. And it's
So
all part of the battlefield.
I'm assuming since you've been there 17 times, you've gotten some kind of paranormal activity while you're out there.
I have got photos of apparitions on the battlefield.
Really?
One of them was at 2:30 in the afternoon in broad daylight with full spectrum camera. I actually showed it to a park ranger out there, and he looked at it. He goes, "That is the best photo I have ever seen." He actually had me send that to his phone.
You still have this picture?
Yeah, I just got to dig it up. That's all I got to do.
I'd be interested in seeing that.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Wow.
Oh, can we pause for a minute?
Absolutely.
All right. Hold on. I got something I got.
This is the time in the show where most people would have an ad break for their sponsors. I don't have any sponsors. So if you'd like to support the show, you can do it a couple ways. One, you can go over to TikTok, subscribe to my channel, and you'll get some perks over there, such as early access to all the episodes before they come out, some fun little stickers to use during the chat, and a shout out before the next show. The other way you can do it is by buying me a coffee. Go over to buymeacoffee.com, look for Miss Monsters and Mullets. You can make a small donation there. Eventually there will be upgrades to that where you'll get the same perks as you do on TikTok. Thank you for your support. And welcome back after that brief message from our sponsor, Nevermore Hollows. Have you ever listened to Nevermore Hollows?
No, I haven't.
You like horror?
Oh, I love horror.
I'm plugging Nevermore Hollows at the moment because if you go to Nevermore Hollows, like 4 out of the last 5 episodes feature me. So
Nice.
yeah. It's all, none of it's written by AI like a lot of these horror podcasts are. And the guys over there, they're phenomenal. And I really enjoy working with them. So I'm plugging their podcast right now.
Nice.
So where were we? We were talking about Gettysburg.
Yes, Gettysburg.
So you had the full spectrum picture. What else did you find over there?
I actually got photos, 3 consecutive photos in a row on a bridge out there called Satch's Bridge. We actually caught an apparition. We've seen it at the end of the bridge. Then you see it when it gets closer. And then the third photo, you can see it looks like it's walking through the wall and dissipating.
Really?
Yes, I got 3 in a row.
I would love to see these pictures. And then if you want, I can post them with this episode.
Yeah, I'll dig them up and I can send them to you. I'll text them to you.
Yeah, that'll work. So we've been to Gettysburg. We've been to Indiana. We've been in Ashland. What's your favorite place that you've investigated?
So far, the Dog Trot House.
Dog Trot House.
Yes, that was in Louisiana. And I went with my friend Joe. He has a paranormal team there. Well, it's broken up now, but he still goes out and investigates. And he took me there, and it was awesome. It was a house, but they turned it into a Civil War hospital.
And where's that in Louisiana?
Provocol.
Protocol?
Provocol.
It's
in Natchitoches Parish.
I lived in Louisiana for a while.
It's south of Shreveport.
Okay. So I lived south of Baton Rouge. So that's more up in the northern part.
It's like 40 minutes south of Shreveport.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look that one up too. What all did you find there?
Oh, it was amazing because we had 8 K2s set up. like 10 feet apart. And we weren't getting nothing. He said sometimes there's activity, sometimes not. And I said, let's try something. I said, let's play some. I said, we'll play some Confederate music from the war, and then we'll play some Northern music from the war. As soon as we started playing like the Northern Battle March, every K2 lit up all at once.
So they were pissed off.
Yeah, pretty much. Because he said he said in the well there were still body parts from the soldiers where they threw them in the well.
Really?
Yeah.
So this
So
was
when they got
this was a Confederate field hospital, basically.
yes,
And the parts that are in the well are from the Confederate soldiers?
Confederate and Union both.
Wow. Yeah, I bet you there is a lot of activity there then.
But yeah,
Yeah.
as soon as we started playing that Northern music, he goes, "Oh my God, I've never seen this much activity here before."
Like,
it was phenomenal.
they were like, them damn Yankees down here in Louisiana. Taking over.
It was great. I loved it. That was my favorite.
You ever investigate anything down in New Orleans?
We didn't make it there.
Yeah,
I
New
wanna go
Orleans
there sometime.
is a wild town, man. I haven't been there since it's before Katrina, so it's been a while.
Yes, that's where my friend Joe was born and raised. Was right in New Orleans.
Oh, there's a lot of spooky stuff down there. A lot.
I want to go to Marie Laveau's grave and investigate there.
Yeah. Yeah. Not much of a grave. It's more of a casket on top of the ground.
Yeah. But 90% of them are down there.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere if you dig down like 18 inches, you hit water. So it's like you can't bury anything down there.
No.
So you went to the Valeska Axe Murder House then too?
That is on my bucket list.
What'd you do out in Iowa then?
It was that I can't pronounce the name of it.
That place.
Yeah, it was basically it was like an old mental hospital, but it wasn't very big.
Okay.
It was like a 15-room mental hospital.
One of my moderators for my lives is from Iowa. I'll have to ask her so she can clarify what that place is called.
Yeah, it's just a small place. I mean, that was years ago when I went to that. There's a lot of places like I gotta sit and think like, what was the name of that one? Because we've done over 3,000 investigations.
3,000?
3,000.
Oh, wow.
And only 63 of them have actually had unexplainable occurrences. The rest of it was all explainable.
And that's what a lot of people need to realize. You know, you can't go into an investigation thinking everything's paranormal.
Right.
You've got to go in skeptical.
Yes.
Because if you're going in expecting to see ghosts, everything's a ghost.
Yeah, every little floor creak, every little house is settling, making noises. Yeah.
Right. And that's the best way to do it. I mean, you have to be able to debunk. And then once you've ruled out everything else, then we can start talking paranormal. But
exactly.
You watch some of these ghost shows and it's like, you know, everything's a ghost, everything's a demon, everything's, you know, whatever. It's like, no, not every speck of dust that flies across your camera is an orb, you know?
Right. Now there was one other place I went to. I can't mention the name because they threatened to sue me at one point because I busted them for being fakes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a very well-known place, and I think you might know what it is. All I got to say is they just tore it down not too long ago.
I'll text you afterward. We're not going to say it on here.
No, because they threatened with me with a lawsuit because I had found hidden cameras. I found a holographic projector.
Really?
I found where there was lasers put onto the floor, and when you cross through them, there was little devices hooked to them, like with plungers on the back that were pushing stuff out, making it look like it was moved. And then we caught a person in the basement with big giant magnets making the chairs move because they had ball bearings in the bottom of the chair to make the chair look like it was moving on its own.
That is horrible.
Yeah, and I busted them on all of it, and they said if I ever say a word, and they had big time lawyers, so yeah, we just kept our mouth shut.
And you probably signed something going in,
Yeah,
non-disclosure agreement or whatever that you didn't even
Yep.
know you were signing.
yeah,
So,
and yeah, we left with our pride at least.
right. Did
Because
you at
we
least get
knew-
any money back?
Nope, they didn't give us the damn $9 back.
That's ridiculous. That right there would be enough for me to just tell everybody. I'm not begging you to tell everybody. I'm just saying my personal opinion.
I've
If
kind of
I
said it to a
find
few
out
people.
you're cheating people and I call you out on it and prove it, I at least want my money back.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot of shysters out there that really like to take advantage of people.
That was one of the things I liked about the Ghost Hunters. That like the show Ghost Hunters.
Yeah,
They went out to that one place out in California, and they walked in and they found speakers and stuff in the walls, and they called them out right on national television. It's like,
right.
and that's what you need to do. These people need to be called out because ghosts are real. They are real, but you don't need to be tricking people.
Right.
Just if your place is haunted, it's like fishing. No,
Yeah.
you're not going to have activity every night or every day or whatever.
Right.
But if it's truly haunted, you are going to have activity at some point, and somebody's going to catch it.
Right. I mean, I've met a few people from different paranormal shows, and we've actually gotten into arguments because I call them out on stuff. I said I'm not going to disclose names on here because they can come back on you.
Right.
I can let you know privately though after we're done.
Well, I know there's this one show where somebody seems to get possessed every episode, and somebody goes running and screaming, and I think it's because their shirts are too tight and it's cutting off circulation to their brain.
I think so too.
I know. I'm not going to talk about a show where they have adventures with ghosts. I'm not going to talk about it.
Right.
So okay, we've touched on Bigfoot. We've touched on, and we've talked a lot about ghosts. What about UFOs?
UFOs, people make fun of other people when they say they see one. Then you have people who have actually seen them and don't want to say a word, just like with Bigfoot or spirit. Me, I'm just going to flat out say it. I have seen a couple in my lifetime.
Really?
Yes.
Let's hear about them.
It was just really interesting because it was just like the one night, my brother, the one I told you about that passed away, worked in prison. We both seen it at the same time. And my son had come outside and he goes, "What are you guys looking at?" And I said, "Look up there in the sky." And there was 3 bright lights in the sky, and we just stood there and watched. And then all of a sudden, 2 of them took off and went different ways, and the other one sat there. Then the 2 that took off away, they stopped. Then that third one, it moved and came back up with the other 2. And we're watching this go on for like 25 minutes.
Really? So these are like solid lights. So they weren't like
Yes.
FAA flashing lights.
No, it was the solid lights. And my brother's just like, "Those have got to be UFOs." He goes, "Because if it was plane, they keep moving." And he goes, "Even if it's a helicopter, they keep moving. They're not stars because they move and then they stop."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "This is interesting." Well, then we had the one that was usually just staying by itself and then moving separately, it took off by itself and started coming like towards where me and my brother was at. I told my son, I said, "Oh, go get my K2 meter. I said, I want to see something." Well, he actually went in and got my REM pod. He brought it out, and this thing actually went over top of us. My REM pod completely lit up, and then it burned out. It burned it up.
Really?
And there was no sound, and the hairs on our arms were standing straight up. You could feel the electromagnetic pull around. It was interesting.
I think I might have pooped myself.
I didn't know what to make of it. I was like fascinated just watching. And so was my brother. It was like we couldn't take our eyes off it. Then all of a sudden it was like gone. Fast. I mean, it went fast. And the other two, they took off too.
Was there any lost time with this?
Not that I know of. It was just interesting. I mean, we was like, wow, this is really cool. But to burn a REM pod up, something's throwing out a lot of energy.
Right. And this was near Ashland?
Yes.
Ashland sounds like it's the place to be.
There's a lot of stuff that happens in Ashland County.
Yeah, sounds like it. And then you had another UFO encounter?
That one, I'm not sure what the heck happened with that. I was actually on my way home from work one night. Bright light. And I was sitting there thinking, what is making the inside of my car so bright? I thought we had a full moon that night. Then I got to thinking, wait a minute, I'm in between a bunch of trees where the moon don't even come through because you can't even see. And it got real bright. And next thing I know, that had time loss with. From where I was at to where I started recognizing I was like 7 miles away.
Really?
Yeah. I have no clue on what happened in between.
Did you find any lumps behind your ear?
No.
Any strange triangular puncture wounds anywhere on your body?
You want to see?
Well, it depends on where it's at.
It's like right above my stomach.
Really? You do have a triangular?
Yes, I do.
What?
You see it? One,
I
two,
do.
three. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that is one of the things that they talk about is triangular puncture wounds.
And my sister measured them, and they're all exactly the same length apart.
We have an abductee here. I guarantee you.
13 centimeters apart each dot in a perfect triangle.
And like you didn't have that mark before.
No.
And how long ago was this?
That was last year.
Holy cow.
That was last September.
Have you had any x-rays since then?
No.
I don't know. I think I'd pay for the x-ray.
But yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. So you don't remember anything from those 7 miles?
Nothing.
Yeah, that's bizarre. I like it though. I like it.
I do know that there was like about 25 minutes in between time from when I looked at the clock till I seen it again.
And you went 7 miles.
Yeah.
That math ain't mathing.
I know.
Wow.
Because actually, when I got to my sister's house, I was getting ready to tell her about it. She goes, "What happened to you?"
So she could read it on you.
Yeah. I didn't even say nothing to her yet.
Wow. So your sister, she's into the paranormal too then?
She tries to stay away from it because she's very open to it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that's not always a bad thing, because people who are open to it can sometimes inadvertently come home with something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She tries to absorb, to take and totally stay away from the subject.
Right. Right. That's not always a bad thing.
No.
I mean, she obviously believes, but just stays away from it.
Yeah, because if she ever hears me talking about it, she's like, okay, you can quit now.
I think that's how my wife is too. Like she believes, but
Yeah.
she doesn't want to go ghost hunting or anything like that, because she's happy just living her life.
Got to do it at least once.
She did. She went with us down there at
Oh,
the
nice.
infirmary, but she had dislocated her ankle the year before, or the summer before. And we did it at the beginning of April. So it was kind of cold. So her ankle started hurting. So she had to leave, but she did go. I'll give her credit for that. And when I do my lives on TikTok, she's in the room the entire time. She's one of my mods. She kicks people out for getting rowdy. Sometimes she tries to kick me out, but I'm the host. Can't do that.
Right.
So, all right. Well, we've been doing this for about an hour. So
nice.
You want to go ahead?
Else? I was going to say, anything else you want to know?
Well, I was thinking either. I feel like you have more to tell.
Few things.
Maybe we could do a part 2.
Yeah, we could do that. And actually, I could get a couple of my investigators to come on with me.
That would be great, because then you got more people corroborating, events, and then I'm sure they have their own where you weren't involved.
Yeah.
Right. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and we'll try to set up a part 2 here in a couple weeks, and I think we can pretty much wrap this one up for tonight.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
I'm glad you had me come in.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on tonight. And let's go ahead and tell everybody about your paranormal team one more time.
Yeah, I'm founder of the Ashland Paranormal Investigation Team. We call it TAP It. We've been in business since 1983, so we have 42 years into the investigating the paranormal. 3,000 investigations, with 63 of them unexplainable.
And how would somebody get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me by sending me an email at tapitghosthunters11, or they can look on Facebook and they can find Tap It Paranormal on Facebook, and they can message me on there.
All right. Well, Randy, I really do appreciate you coming on tonight, and we'll talk to you later.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me again.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
And that's it for tonight. I'd like to thank Randy for coming on the show. And if you have a paranormal encounter you'd like to share, you can email me at mythsandmullets@gmail.com. Good night, everyone.